Hi, I'm Christi Friesen. Thanks for joining me here at Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Jewelry Making Studio. I have got a really fun project to do with you today. It's a sparkle flower, so we're going to use some crystals and a little bit of mica powder, make it sparkle. I'm using polymer clay, and I'm using a little project that we'll talk about in a minute that you can find also on Fire Mountain Gems, the roadkill leaf. So we'll get back to that in a minute, but in the meantime, we're going to make a little sparkle flower. Are you ready? I'm going to use Primo clay today, and I've pre-mixed a sort of a purpley color. You can use any color you want. I mean, it's flour, so it can go in any direction you like it. Primo is one of several brands of clay. All the clay in the polymer world are wonderful. So whatever you like to use best, you go ahead and use that. I use Primo because it's a fabulous clay for sculpting. So what I've done is I've just blended and mixed by smashing and twisting a nice little color that amused me. And then I'm just going to roll out a couple of little balls of clay about the size of a pea. You'll need 5 of those. And once you've made them into the little pea shape, I'm just kind of twisting them with my fingers so now that they're a teardrop shape. That's the shape we want. And then you just flatten those babies. So ultimately what you're going to get is 5 flattened little teardrops. So there's 3. Let's flatten that baby. And you notice how I'm just squishing it in my fingers? In this project, fingerprints are your friend. They add kind of a natural looking texture to the petal of the leaf. So don't try to smooth it away. Just let it be. It's all good. Okay, we've got 5. You ready? All I'm going to do with these little 5 petals is I'm going to stack them one on top of the other and kind of make a fan out of them so that the points are together and the tops kind of fan out. And I'm pressing them together so that they'll stick. Primo is a sticky clay, which I happen to like, and the reason why I like it is it grabs very nicely. So when I'm making something, it sticks where I want it to stick. All right, so now I've got this nice little fan. You can see how this is overlapping, 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 overlapping. To complete the circle, this one has to overlap that one. The only way to do that is to make an ice cream cone. So you kind of pinch this up a little bit, turn it into a cone, and overlap that one on top of that one, and pinch them all together. And as you squeeze the clay back here, see how that makes all the petals come together and open up into a nice little flower shape? Isn't that fun? It's kind of like magic. All right, so now we're going to actually bling this baby. I like to put the crystals on now because I can grab and pinch very easily. I'm going to use this little tool. This is called an embelly jelly, and it's just a little picker stick with some embelly jelly on the end, which is sort of a sticky wax stuff. And it's really great for picking up crystal. These are glass rhinestones. They're flat back and they have a hot fix back. Hot fix means that there's a little glue back there so that when these get in the oven, they'll glue themselves right into the clay. But for that to work well, you're going to want to push that down a bit. If you just press it on the surface without pushing, they might slide a little bit once they get in that hot oven, and then you don't know where those crystals are going to be after that. So I'm just going to put a few random ones on here. If I was paying attention, I might plan and make the little crystals look a lot more organized, but hey, what's the fun of that when you can just smash them on? So smash we shall. I'm using an assortment here of some purples and some blues because it's amusing. And I've got one more. What do you think? That looks pretty blingy. So there's our nice little blings. Now I'm going to go ahead and pinch. If you can see the back side here, as I pinch this and kind of twist it, it gets more and more of this excess gone because I don't need all that. Then I've got a little bit of a razor blade here, or kind of a lot of bit of a razor blade. Be careful, you don't want to slice your fingers off. That's just not much fun. So I'm going to kind of slice away from myself, get rid of that excess. And now see what I've got is just a little nub back there. If you gently pinch that nub so it's a little bit of a point, now we're going to be able to put it inside our roadkill leaves. I told you we were going to talk about that. That is another project that you can do here on firemountaingems.com, and it's a quickie, it's an easy, and all I did was take several of those little leaves, smash their little stems together, and that makes a perfect resting place for our flower. I'm going to get a couple bits more of that same green because I need to build up a little bit of a pad where the flower is going to live, because I've got a nice stem of crystals going to go down in the middle, and if it's not big enough, the crystals won't fit in. I'm using just a pointed tool of any kind, and what I want to do is want to make like an opening so that this particular flower will fit right in. I'm going to use the end of that tool just to push it down. Any sculpting tools that you have around are going to work beautifully for this. Just make a little opening. Now when you make this opening, what we're going to do is drop down some crystal head pins, but making that opening kind of leaves a big wide open gap. So if you take just another little ball of clay and put it down in there, when the crystals go in, they'll have something to grab onto. Okay, crystal head pins. Now that's a fun little thing. Look at these guys. It's just a lovely little head pin, and it's got a shiny little crystal on the end. How blingful is that? I love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 or 5 of these babies, and I'm just going to twist them together. The easiest way is with your fingers, just to start it off like that, and then you can use pliers to grab and twist some more so that they're all twisted up like this. You want to have them grabbing together closely so that you can trim the end off, and you have a much shorter one. Just clip it right off with a pair of pliers, wire cutters. If you can do it with pliers, you're pretty strong. All right, I'm going to take this and just stick that little cluster right down in. Now, because there's twist to the wire, that usually grabs into the clay and holds it in very nice and steadily. And look what you've got. Isn't this lovely? I'm going to add one more bit of bling on here. I'm going to put some mica powder on here. Mica powder is fantastic. If you're playing with polymer clay and you don't have mica powder, stop everything you're doing and go get some right now. You'll thank me later, because it is fantastic stuff. It's just a shimmery, ground up mica, which is a stone, and they add tint to it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it well. And it makes everything just come alive with shine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just using the lid because it's a larger jar and I don't want to drop it all over the set. But I'm putting a little on my brush, and I am just smoothing this on here. I love this one. This is Sparkle Blue. And what it does is just add like this kind of glossy shimmer. I'm going to hold it up so you can see that. It is a really nice little one. Look at that. See that shimmer on there? Isn't that cool? I love it. Okay, so now it is ready. The only thing we need to do is figure out how in the world to wear this. And I am just going to take one of the stems that was left over from when I trimmed the head pins, or you can use a bit of 20 gauge wire if you prefer. And I'm going to take some, let's see, I got pliers right over here. We're going to make a little curve in the end. And that little curve on the end is just like a little hook so that it grabs into the clay. So see, it's just a little hook there, and I'm going to bend it just in a nice little curve over, so you've got like a shepherd's crook. So see that little shepherd's crook right there? That will let you embed it into the clay. You don't need to make a hook on the other end. You can. The hook lets the clay harden around that little opening and really keeps it from pulling out. So it's a very, very handy thing. I'm going to just take this end, hold it with my pliers so I have a little bit of steadiness to my finger, and just jam it right in. See, I'm pushing it right into that lumpy spot. And then you should be able to bake it right there. Then once it's all baked, that little hook is ready to string a jump ring on, or you can slip knot like a ribbon through it or whatever amuses you. All right, baking. Baking is pretty easy with polymer clay. There are 2 videos you might want to look at here at firemountaingems.com. One is a polymer clay basics, where I walk you through everything you ever needed to know, including baking the long version. Then there's just a little baking video as well. So if you want some more tips on that, go there and find out everything. Otherwise, it's just using a regular oven. Tabletop oven works really well. This should bake about 30 minutes at around 275 if you're using Primo clay. And when it comes out, it's going to be hard, a little bit flexible on those tiny little leaves, very durable, and beautiful to wear. So wasn't that fun? Are you excited? I am. I want you to make a whole bunch of them, and all your friends can wear them. It'll be great fun. So you can find not only all the things you need with clay and crystals and tools, but you can also get other instructional things, not only videos, but books. If you're into flowers and leaves, I've got another book out called Flourish. It's all kinds of leaves and flowers. So of course, I highly recommend it. It's awesome. So you can get that, and mica powders and all the other things that you need to make your clay experience exciting are right here. So come to firemountaingems.com, find all this good stuff, and get creating.